She kept her ex as her phone background because it's a good photo. I kept my options open because they were good options. She noticed when my new girl posted us. Suddenly, she hated that photo. All right, Reddit. This one's about the most ridiculous double standard I've ever experienced. My girlfriend kept a photo of her ex as her phone background for months. Said it was just because the lighting was good. I started talking to other women. One of them posted us together on social media. Suddenly, that photo of her ex wasn't so innocent anymore. Here's how it went down. I'm 28 male, a warehouse supervisor at a distribution center outside Atlanta. Decent job, decent pay, own a small house I bought 3 years ago when the market dipped. Nothing fancy, just a 2-bedroom ranch with a garage I converted into a home gym. I'm not rich, but I'm stable. Got my life together, pay my bills on time, have a 401k and everything. Been at the same company for 6 years. Worked my way up from loading dock to supervisor. The job's physically demanding but straightforward. Show up, manage the team, make sure shipments go out on schedule, handle the occasional crisis when equipment breaks down or someone calls in sick. I like it because once I leave work, I'm done. No taking problems home with me. My girlfriend Amber, 26 female, worked retail management at one of those mid-tier clothing stores in the mall. We'd been together about a year and a half when this whole mess started. Met her through mutual friends at a barbecue. She seemed cool. We hit it off. Things were good for the first year or so. She moved into my place about 8 months into the relationship. Made sense financially for her since she was paying way too much for a studio apartment across town. We split utilities and groceries. I covered the mortgage since it was my house. Standard arrangement that worked fine for both of us. The move-in process was smooth enough. She didn't have much furniture, mostly clothes and personal items. I cleared out half the closet, gave her 2 dresser drawers, made space in the bathroom. Basic cohabitation stuff that felt natural at the time. Her job at the mall meant irregular hours, lots of evenings and weekends. I worked standard Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. Our schedules didn't always align, but we made it work. She'd be leaving for work when I was getting home, or I'd be asleep when she finished her closing shift. We'd have breakfast together on her days off, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays. She'd make these elaborate egg dishes with vegetables and cheese while I'd handle the coffee situation. We had this routine down. It was comfortable. The first time I really noticed the phone background situation was around month 10. We were sitting on the couch watching some crime documentary when her phone lit up with a notification. The screen showed this photo of Amber standing on a beach at sunset, looking off into the distance with this perfect lighting. Professional quality shot, honestly. She looked great in it. The composition was perfect. Golden hour lighting, waves in the background, her hair caught mid-movement by the wind. The kind of photo that looks like it belongs in a travel magazine. She was wearing this flowy white dress, looking out at the ocean with this peaceful expression. Objectively beautiful image. Nice photo, I said casually. When was that taken? Oh, that's from like 2 years ago. Good lighting, right? It's my favorite picture of myself. Fair enough. We all have those photos where everything just works. Didn't think much of it at the time. A few weeks later, we were at dinner with her friend Sophie when the phone came up again. Sophie made some comment about Amber never changing her background, how she'd had the same photo for forever. It's just such a good picture, Amber said. The lighting is perfect. The composition is amazing. I look great in it. Why would I change it? I glanced at her phone sitting on the table. That beach sunset photo. Something about the way they were discussing it felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on why. That night, I asked about it directly. So that beach photo, where was that taken? California. Trip I took a while back. Solo trip? She hesitated just a fraction too long. No, I was with my ex, but that's not why I keep it. It's genuinely just a really good photo of me. The relationship is over. The photo is just a photo. And there it was. Her phone background was a photo taken by her ex-boyfriend on a romantic beach trip. Not a group shot with friends, not a family vacation. A couple's trip with her previous relationship. That doesn't bother you? I asked. Why would it? The relationship ended, but the photo is still good. It's not like I'm looking at him in the picture, it's just me. Yeah, but he took it. On a romantic trip. That's kind of weird to keep as your background. She got defensive immediately. You're being insecure. It's literally just a photo. Should I delete every picture from my past just because I'm with you now? I'm not saying delete it. I'm saying maybe don't have it as the first thing you see every time you check your phone. You're making this into a bigger deal than it is. The photo has nothing to do with him. It's about me looking good in good lighting. We dropped it, but it nagged at me. Not because I'm some jealous guy who can't handle his girlfriend having a past. I've had relationships before too. But there's a difference between acknowledging someone's history and actively displaying it as your daily phone background. Over the next few months, I noticed other things. She'd get texts from Jake at weird hours. When I asked who Jake was, she'd say, "Just a friend from before." The name came up a lot. Too much for someone who was supposedly just a friend. The texts would come in at 10, 11 at night, during dinner, during movies, while we were having conversations. She'd always check them immediately, sometimes typing quick responses while I was mid-sentence. When I'd pause, waiting for her attention, she'd look up and say, "Sorry, what were you saying?" Started to feel like I was competing for attention with this guy I'd never met. One Tuesday morning, we were having breakfast when her phone buzzed 3 times in rapid succession, all from Jake. She picked it up, smiled at whatever he'd sent, typed back while her eggs got cold. "Must be some conversation," I said. "Just Jake being dumb. Sent me this meme about work stuff. You guys talk about work a lot?" "Sometimes. He gets it, you know. Retail management problems." "Where does he work?" She hesitated. "Different store. Same company, though." That felt like important information she deliberately withheld. They worked for the same company. Saw each other regularly, probably. Maybe even worked together directly at some point. "So you see him at work?" "Sometimes. District meetings, training sessions, that kind of thing." "Huh. Don't start. He's literally just a friend." But the texts kept coming. Morning, afternoon, night. Constant stream of communication with this friend while I was lucky to get half her attention during dinner. One night, her phone was charging on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. A text from Jake popped up. "Miss talking to you like we used to." I didn't snoop through her phone. Wasn't raised that way. But I also wasn't stupid. The beach photo background. The constant texting with her friend. The defensive reactions whenever I brought anything up. Pattern was pretty clear. My buddy Carlos from work noticed I was off one day. We were doing inventory checks in the back warehouse when he asked what was eating at me. "Girl problems," I told him. "Pretty sure my girlfriend's hung up on her ex." "She say that?" "Not in those words. But her phone background is a photo he took of her. They text all the time. She gets defensive when I mention any of it." Carlos whistled low. "Man, that's disrespectful. My wife tried that early on. I shut it down quick. You can have a past, but you don't display it." She says I'm being insecure. Nah, you're being normal. She's testing boundaries. Seeing what you'll put up with. That conversation stuck with me. Carlos had been married 10 years. Seemed to have his relationship figured out. Maybe he was right. I decided to run an experiment. If Amber could keep her options open by staying in contact with her ex and literally looking at photos from their relationship every day, I could keep my options open too. Not by cheating, just by not closing myself off to other possibilities. Started small. Reconnected with some female friends I'd lost touch with. Accepted friend requests from women I'd ignored before. Started conversations at the gym, at the grocery store, at work functions. Nothing inappropriate, just being social, being available. There was this woman named Diana who worked in the front office at my company. We'd said hi in passing, but never really talked. She was attractive, around my age, seemed cool. One day I stopped by her desk to ask about some paperwork, and we ended up chatting for 20 minutes. She was funny, easy to talk to, and at no point during our conversation did she mention her ex or have his photo as her phone background. That first real conversation happened on a Thursday afternoon. I needed to file some incident reports after one of the guys hurt his back lifting wrong. Diana handled all the safety paperwork for the facility. "These forms are a pain," she said, pulling up the digital templates. "Administration loves their bureaucracy. Tell me about it. Last month they made us retake forklift certification even though we've all been driving them for years." She laughed. "Oh, I remember that memo. Pretty sure half the warehouse guys were cursing my name." "Nah, we save our cursing for the people who write the policies, not the people stuck enforcing them." "Appreciate that. You'd be surprised how many people shoot the messenger." We talked while she filled out the forms. She mentioned she'd been with the company about 2 years, transferred from a different facility across the state. Moved here for a fresh start after a bad breakup. "How's Atlanta treating you?" I asked. "Better than expected. Still figuring out where everything is, but the people are nice. You find any good restaurants yet? That's like half the battle of moving somewhere new." Her eyes lit up. "Actually, I've been looking for recommendations. Everything I've tried so far has been chains." I gave her a few spots I liked. Nothing fancy, just solid local places with good food. She pulled out her phone to take notes, and I noticed her background was just a generic nature scene. We started having lunch together occasionally. Just co-workers being friendly. She'd tell me about her weekend plans. I'd tell her about mine. Sometimes Amber came up in conversation. Sometimes she didn't. The lunches became a regular thing. Usually Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays if our schedules aligned. We'd hit up different food trucks that parked near the industrial complex, trying whatever looked good. One Saturday, we met at this Ethiopian restaurant in Little Five Points. The place was small, authentic, packed with people. We ordered the combo platter, eating with our hands using injera bread. "This is incredible," Diana said. "Why did nobody tell me about this place?" Maybe they wanted to keep it a secret. We talked for 2 hours. About her life before Atlanta, about my path from loading docks to supervisor, about our families, our goals, our completely different taste in music. At home, things with Amber stayed the same. Beach photo still glowing on her phone screen. Jake still texting at all hours. Her still insisting none of it meant anything, and I was overreacting. "You're being paranoid," she'd say whenever I brought up Jake. "He's literally just a friend. We have history, but that's all it is. History. History that you keep looking at on your phone every single day. Oh my gosh, let it go already. The photo is staying. If you can't handle that, maybe you're too insecure for a relationship." That line right there. Too insecure for a relationship. Classic manipulation tactic. Frame normal boundaries as character flaws so the other person backs down. I didn't back down, I just stopped engaging with it. She wanted to keep that photo? Fine. I'd keep my options open. Diana and I started hanging out outside of work. Coffee before shifts, lunch on weekends when we both had time. She mentioned she'd just gotten out of a relationship a few months back. Wasn't looking for anything serious, just enjoyed having someone to talk to. "What happened with your ex?" I asked during one of our coffee meetups. "He couldn't let go of his previous relationship. Kept comparing me to her, kept talking about her, had all these photos of them together still around his apartment. It was exhausting." Sounds familiar. You going through something similar? I told her about the phone background situation. She actually laughed. "That's wild. My ex did the same thing. Said it was just a good photo. Like, yeah, it's a good photo of you with someone else on a romantic trip. Read the room. It felt good to talk to someone who got it, who didn't make me feel like I was being unreasonable for having basic expectations. Diana and I never crossed any lines. No kissing, no physical stuff, nothing that would qualify as cheating. But we definitely had chemistry. The kind of easy back and forth that makes you realize maybe you're with the wrong person. About 3 months into my friendship with Diana, we went hiking at this state park about an hour outside the city. Beautiful day, good trails, just two friends hanging out. The drive up was fun. Diana insisted on controlling the music, subjecting me to country songs about heartbreak and redemption. She sang along to every word, completely off key. The hike was moderate difficulty, 3 miles up to the summit with decent elevation gain. Diana kept pace easily, chatting about work drama the whole way. We reached the top. View was incredible. City sprawling below us, clear blue sky above. Diana pulled out her phone. "Get in here," she said, pulling me into frame. We took a few photos together. Nothing romantic, just two people smiling at the camera with a mountain view behind us. She checked them, nodded in approval. On the way back down, we talked about relationships. How her ex had been controlling, always needed to know where she was. How she'd felt trapped even though he'd claimed everything was out of love. "That's not love," she said. "That's ownership." Took me way too long to figure out the difference. We grabbed food on the way back. Sat in the parking lot eating and talking until sunset. Easy conversation, no pressure, no games. Diana posted one photo to her Instagram that night. Tagged me. Captioned it, "Great hike with great company." I didn't think much of it. Amber and I followed each other on social media, but rarely interacted there. She never liked my posts. I never liked hers. It was just something we had connected but didn't actively use to engage with each other. Apparently Amber noticed this one though. I was at work the next day when my phone started blowing up. Text after text from Amber. "Who is Diana? Why are you hiking with other women? This is so disrespectful. We need to talk right now. Answer me. I can't believe you would do this to me. You're unbelievable." The texts kept coming. I silenced my phone and finished my shift. Had a whole truckload of inventory to check in. Didn't have time for relationship drama during work hours. Let her stew in it for a few hours. Maybe she'd calm down by the time I got home. She didn't calm down. I finished my shift before responding. When I got home, Amber was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, face set in that expression that meant a fight was coming. "Want to explain that photo?" she said, before I'd even set my keys down. "Which photo?" "Don't play dumb. The hiking photo with that woman Diana." "Oh, that. We went hiking yesterday. She's a friend from work." "A friend? Since when do you go on romantic hikes with friends?" I almost laughed at the irony. It wasn't romantic. We hiked, as friends, like people do. You were all over each other in that photo. I pulled up the photo on my phone. We were standing next to each other, both smiling at the camera, with probably 6 inches of space between us. All over each other was a massive exaggeration. We were taking a photo at the summit. Standard hiking photo. Nothing inappropriate about it. It's completely inappropriate. You're in a relationship. You shouldn't be going on dates with other women. It wasn't a date. And even if it was, I'm just keeping my options open. Like you do with Jake. Her face went red. That's completely different. How? Jake is just a friend. We have history. You're literally seeing someone else behind my back. I sat down on the couch, kept my voice calm. Let me get this straight. You can text your ex at all hours, keep a photo he took of you on a romantic trip as your phone background, and that's fine because it's just history and I'm insecure if I have a problem with it. But I go hiking with a female coworker and suddenly I'm the bad guy? Yes! Because I'm not interested in Jake romantically. You're clearly interested in this Diana person. And you're clearly still hung up on Jake. At least I'm honest about it. I am not hung up on Jake. How many times do I have to say it? We're friends. That's it. Then change your phone background. Silence. She just stared at me. That's what I thought, I said. You won't change it because it means something to you. That photo, that relationship, Jake himself, they all still mean something. And you want to keep that door open while demanding I close every other door in my life. This is insane. You're deflecting. This isn't about my phone, it's about you cheating. I'm not cheating. I went hiking with a friend. We took a photo. That's it. Then why did she post it? Why did she tag you? She's trying to stake a claim. Or she posted a photo from a fun day. Like people do. You're reading way too much into it. No, you're reading too much into my friendship with Jake. You're the one who's been weird about this from the start. We went in circles for another hour. Her insisting Diana was a threat, and I was betraying her. Me pointing out the double standard. Neither of us budging. Finally, I asked the question that ended it. Do you love Jake? She froze. Just for a second, but long enough. That's not fair. Answer the question. I care about him, but not like that. Not anymore. Not. We had something once, but it's over. But you still love him? Stop putting words in my mouth. Then answer. Do you love Jake? Yes or no? It's not that simple. It really is. Either you're over him or you're not. Either this relationship is your priority or it's not. Which is it? She stood up, grabbed her phone. That beach sunset photo illuminating her angry face. I need some air. This is too much. She walked out. Came back 3 hours later like nothing happened. I didn't bring it up again that night. But something had shifted. I wasn't the one scrambling to explain myself anymore. I wasn't the one on defense. The tables had turned, and Amber didn't know how to handle it. Over the next few weeks, she became obsessed with Diana, constantly checking my phone when she thought I wasn't looking, asking where I was going, who I was with, what time I'd be back. The same behavior she'd called controlling and insecure when I'd shown them about Jake. Diana and I kept hanging out. Still just friends, but I won't pretend the possibility of more wasn't there. We just clicked in a way Amber and I never had. Conversations flowed naturally. No drama, no games, no double standards. One Saturday, Diana invited me to this outdoor concert in the park. Local bands, food trucks, good weather. I mentioned it to Amber in passing. You're going to a concert with her? Yeah, should be fun. You can come if you want. I knew she wouldn't. Amber hated crowds and live music. I can't believe you're doing this. Throwing our relationship away for some random woman you barely know. I've known Diana for 4 months. We work together. We're friends. This isn't throwing anything away. It is when you're choosing her over me. I'm not choosing anyone over anyone. I'm going to a concert with a friend. You're welcome to join. I shouldn't have to join. You should want to spend time with me, not her. I spend plenty of time with you. I'm allowed to have friends. Not friends who are clearly trying to steal you away. The concert was great. Diana and I got food truck tacos, watched a few bands, hung out on a blanket in the grass. Purely friendly, nothing inappropriate. But something shifted that day. I realized I was happier with Diana in a few hours than I'd been with Amber in months. On the way back to her car, Diana asked, "What's going on with you and Amber?" Honestly, not sure anymore. Things have been weird. The phone background thing? That's part of it. But it's bigger than that. It's the double standards, the manipulation, the way she wants me to accept her staying connected to her ex while freaking out if I have female friends. Sounds exhausting. It is. We sat in her car for a while, just talking. She told me about her last relationship, How her ex had slowly isolated her from friends until she felt trapped. How leaving him was the hardest and best decision she'd made. I'm not saying you should break up with Amber, she said. That's your call. But from an outside perspective, it doesn't sound healthy. You deserve someone who respects you. That night, I came home to find Amber had cooked dinner. Candles on the table, nice music playing, the whole romantic setup. She was trying. The apartment smelled amazing. Something Italian. She'd set the table with the good plates. Wine glasses filled with something red. She came out wearing the dress I'd complimented months ago. Hair done, makeup perfect. What's all this? I asked. I've been thinking. About us. About what you said. I don't want to lose you. She'd made chicken parmesan from scratch. My favorite. Garlic bread. Salad. Must have taken hours. We sat down to eat. It was a nice meal. She'd followed a recipe, cooked everything perfectly. This is really good, I said honestly. Thanks. I wanted to do something special. But the whole time, her phone sat on the table, beach photo background glowing with every notification, which happened 3 times during dinner, all from Jake. She'd glance at each one, then back at me with that forced smile, not answering but clearly aware of every message. We finished eating. She'd made dessert, cheesecake from the fancy bakery across town. I've been thinking. I don't want to lose you, she said again. We need to talk about the actual issues. I know, and I'm ready to work on things. Starting with? She picked up her phone, stared at it. For a second, I thought she might change the background. Then she set it back down. I can text Jake less, and I'll be less weird about your friends. That's fair, right? What about the photo? Can we not do this right now? I made this nice dinner, I'm trying here. You're trying, but you're not actually changing anything. You'll text Jake less and trust me more with friends, but the photo stays? Why is it such a big deal? It's literally just a picture. Because it represents everything wrong with this relationship. You keeping one foot in your past while demanding I have both feet in our present. Her phone buzzed again. Jake. She looked at it, then back at me. Picked it up, read the message, smiled slightly. Sorry, what were you saying? That's when I knew. All the candles and effort didn't matter if she couldn't put down her phone for one conversation. She started crying. I don't know how to make you happy anymore. Nothing I do is good enough. I'm sleeping in the spare bedroom tonight. I went to the spare room, locked the door, heard her crying, then heard her on the phone, talking to Jake probably. Woke up to a text from Diana. Hope last night wasn't too rough? Coffee before work? Definitely, I replied. The next few weeks were tense. Amber and I coexisting more than actually being together. She'd be on her phone, I'd be on mine. She'd watch TV in the living room, I'd work out in the garage. We became roommates who occasionally slept in the same bed. Diana and I got closer. Still no physical line crossing, but emotionally we were definitely more than friends. We talked every day, saw each other multiple times a week, knew details about each other's lives that went beyond surface level. I knew it wasn't fair to Amber, but it also wasn't fair that she demanded all my attention while giving hers elsewhere. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but sometimes they make things even. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday. I got home from work to find Amber in the bedroom, packing a bag. What's going on? I asked. I'm staying at my mom's for a few days. Need to think. She was throwing clothes into an overnight bag without folding them, just grabbing things from drawers and stuffing them in. Her movements were jerky, frustrated, like she was angry at the clothes for existing. Think about what? About us. About whether this is worth fighting for. I leaned against the doorframe, watched her pack. Part of me wanted to stop her, to say we could figure it out. But the bigger part was tired. Tired of the double standards, tired of feeling like I was competing for her attention, tired of being made to feel crazy for having normal boundaries. Okay, take the time you need. She stopped packing, looked at me with surprise, like she'd expected me to beg her to stay. That's it? You're just going to let me leave? What do you want me to say, Amber? I've been trying to talk about our issues for months. You shut me down every time. If you need space to think, take it. Don't you care that I'm leaving? Of course I care. But I'm not going to force someone to stay who doesn't want to be here. She went back to packing, more aggressively now. Slammed a drawer after pulling out a sweater. You're unbelievable. I'm the one trying to save this relationship and you're just giving up. How are you saving it? By leaving? By refusing to change anything? I offered to compromise. You offered to text Jake slightly less while keeping him as your priority. That's not a compromise. That's an insult. She zipped up her bag, turned to face me. Are you seeing Diana? We're friends. That's not what I asked. The moment felt significant. Like we'd reached the point where honesty was the only option left. Moment of truth. I could lie, string this along longer, or I could be honest. No, I'm not seeing her. But if you asked if I wanted to, I don't know what I'd say. Her face went pale. Eyes got shiny with tears. For a second, she just stood there holding her bag, processing. She nodded slowly, jaw clenched. At least you're honest. Are you still in love with Jake? Same question from weeks ago. This time, she couldn't dodge it. We'd reached the point where lies didn't work anymore. She set down her bag, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at her hands for a long moment. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. I don't know. Maybe I never stopped. The admission hung in the air between us. Everything I'd suspected for months finally confirmed. Then that's your answer, I said quietly. I don't want to love him. I want to love you. You're stable and responsible, and you have your life together. You're the smart choice. The smart choice. That's romantic. You know what I mean. Jake is chaos. He's unpredictable and flaky and probably terrible husband material. But there's this history there. This pull. I thought moving in with you would make it go away. That building a life with someone reliable would be enough. But it's not. I don't know. She stood up, started pacing. That's why I need space. To figure out what I want. Who I want. You shouldn't need space to figure that out, Amber. If you loved me, if you really wanted this, there wouldn't be a question. The fact that you're torn between me and him tells you everything you need to know. So what? We're just done? After 18 months, you're walking away? You're the one leaving. I'm just accepting it. She grabbed her bag, hesitated at the door. I'll call you in a few days, after I've had time to think. Don't bother. I think we both know how this ends. Stop being so stubborn. I'm trying to make this work. No, you're trying to keep both options open while you decide who's the better deal. I'm not interested in being on the auction block. She left. I heard her car pull out of the driveway. Sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the empty room, processing what just happened. My phone buzzed. Diana. Everything okay? You seem off today. Long story. Can we talk? My place or yours? Yours. I'll bring food. I showed up at Diana's apartment with Chinese takeout and the full story. Everything from the phone background to Jake to the hiking photo to tonight's conversation. She listened without interrupting, just nodding along. So what are you going to do? She asked when I finished. Honestly, I think it's over. Been over for a while. Just took me this long to admit it. How do you feel about that? Relieved? Sad? Both? I don't know. We had good times. But we also had this constant undercurrent of tension. This feeling that we were competing for each other's attention instead of actually being partners. Diana reached over, squeezed my hand. You deserve better than that. So do you. Your ex sounds like he was a nightmare. They were, but they taught me what I don't want. Sometimes the wrong relationship shows you exactly what the right one should look like. We talked until midnight. When I stood up to leave, she walked me to the door. For what it's worth, she said, I think you're making the right choice. And when you're ready, if you ever want to see what we could be beyond friends, I'd like that. Yeah? Yeah. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. Amber's car wasn't in the driveway. The house was empty, quiet, peaceful. My phone lit up with a text from her. Can we talk tomorrow? Sure, I replied. What time? After work. I'll come by around 6. She showed up exactly at 6 the next day. We sat in the living room, that weird formality of two people who used to be close now treating each other like strangers. I've been thinking a lot, she started. About what you said. About Jake. And? I think you're right. I wasn't over him when we started dating. I thought I was. But seeing him again, having him back in my life, it brought up all these old feelings. I appreciate you being honest. But I want to work on it. On us. I can cut off contact with Jake completely. Change my phone background. Whatever you need. There was the offer I'd wanted months ago. Complete capitulation on every point we'd fought over. And it meant nothing. I don't think that's the solution, I said. Why not? I'm giving you everything you asked for. Because you should want to do those things. Not do them because you have to. The fact that it took me potentially moving on for you to even consider changing shows the real issue. Which is, you don't respect me. Or this relationship. You want the security I provide while keeping your options open. And when I did the same thing, you lost your mind. That's not fair. I was trying. I cooked dinner. I offered to change things. After months of dismissing my concerns and calling me insecure, after I'd already mentally checked out, too little, too late, she started crying. So that's it? You're just giving up? I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. We're not right for each other. You need someone who's okay with you maintaining close friendships with exes. I need someone who makes me a priority. Those aren't compatible needs. What about Diana? Are you going to be with her now? Maybe. Maybe not. That's not really the point. It's exactly the point. You're leaving me for her. I'm leaving because this relationship isn't working. Diana has nothing to do with it. She just helped me see what I was missing. Mutual respect. Trust. Someone who wants to be with me, not just wants what I provide. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Amber stood up. I'll start looking for a new place. Might take a few weeks. Take your time. I'm not trying to kick you out. Can I ask you something? If I had changed that phone background at the beginning, would we have made it? I thought about it. Maybe, but probably not. The background was just a symptom. The real problem was deeper than that. She nodded, picked up her bag, and headed to the bedroom. I stayed on the couch, staring at the wall, processing the end of 18 months. 2 weeks later, Amber moved into a new apartment across town. We split our shared belongings amicably. She took her furniture, I kept mine. We settled up on utilities and groceries. The whole thing was surprisingly civil for a breakup. The day she moved out, I found myself staring at my own phone background. Generic landscape photo that came preloaded. Nothing personal, nothing meaningful, just a placeholder. I changed it to a photo of me and Diana from the concert. Just two people smiling, genuinely happy, no baggage or hidden meanings. Felt like a good fresh start. Diana and I started officially dating about a month after Amber left. Took it slow at first, both of us gun-shy from previous relationships. But it was different from the start. Easy, natural. No games, no double standards, no competing for attention. About 3 months into us being official, I ran into Amber at the grocery store. She was with a guy I didn't recognize. Not Jake, someone new. Hey, she said awkwardly. How are you? Good. You? Really good, actually. This is Scott. We made small talk for a few minutes. Scott seemed nice enough. Normal guy. Nothing special. But Amber looked happy. I'm glad you're doing well, I said before leaving. You too. And Luke? I'm sorry. For everything. You were right about most of it. Water under the bridge. Take care of yourself. I finished my shopping and headed home. Diana was waiting at my place. Promised to help me try a new recipe for dinner. Found her in the kitchen already prepping ingredients. The photo background thing seems silly in retrospect. It's just a phone screen, just pixels arranged in a certain way. But it represented something bigger. It represented someone choosing to display their connection to their past every single day while asking me to completely erase mine. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.